Whenever you see Africa, it's always portrayed as super skinny, miserable people. When I got to Africa, and this isn't true for all of Africa or for any kind of stereotype, but when I got there, I realized that was not the case. They were some of the most happy, genuine people that I've ever met in my entire life. So while I was there, I was like, I have to capture just the pureness of this, and that was the whole point of this video, is to capture the people as they truly were. Not to try and show the miserable side of Africa, because I mean there's miserable sides of any country you go to, whether it be the US, whether it be Canada, whether it be Africa, but there's so many awesome positive things regardless where you go in the world. And that's what I saw in Africa, is I saw the nicest, the kindest people I've ever seen, I think, in all my travels. A couple months back, I was in the Maldive Islands, and there are a bunch of islands right below India, and they flew in a bunch of photographers and videographers to capture the local people. And when we were there, we were at this small little island at one of these elementary schools, and everyone was taking pictures of the children, and they don't speak the same language, as far as they don't speak English, and they had all these people from around the world trying to communicate with these kids, but they were speaking in their native tongue, not the locals' native tongue. So you had all these photographers, videographers trying to capture the people, but there was no communication going on. The kids were intimidated because they didn't understand what these photographers were trying to say or do. So I asked one of the guys that could translate, I'm like, how do you say cheese? How do you say smile? How can I make these kids laugh? So they taught me, he taught me how to say smile in that local language, and then I walked up to a couple of kids and I started saying in their language, smile, cheese. At first the kids, they looked up to me and they're like, he's not supposed to be speaking our language. And then they started laughing. They started smiling. And then I just started being goofy with them, and I wasn't trying to be like this professional photographer. I was just speaking in their language, just a couple words that I had learned. And all the kids, they started running up to me and smiling and laughing, and that's how I was able to get kind of natural reactions. And it was funny because afterwards, a lot of these photographers, videographers from these high up magazines and television stations, they come up to me and they're like, how were you able to get the kids to smile and be natural? And I was like, I just learned how to say cheese in their local language, and that's really what it came down to. As far as breaking the barrier, it was just a matter of learning just a couple words in that local language, that native language, and it totally broke the barrier. And that was the same thing that happened in Africa, is when we were there, first things I did is I asked, how do you say smile? How do you say cheese? How do you say teeth? And then when we went to the elementary school, I was saying the same things but in their local language, and it came across so much more natural because the kids, they're used to these other people coming in and not speaking their language, so they don't know how to react because they don't know what's being said. So for me, that works so well. So the tip of this video is break the barrier. And just to kind of recap what that means is wherever you go, learn the language, learn the traditions, learn what they love to do, whether it be ballroom dancing, whether it be surfing, whether it be motocrossing, whoever you're working with, even if they speak the same language, learn how they speak as far as their lingo, and you can communicate so much better, and that really does break the barrier. And through breaking the barrier, you'll get so much better natural reactions. I mean, when we were in Africa, I learned how to say cheese, smile. That's all I was doing. And that's why it came across so much more natural. So anyways, that's a wrap.